Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the 50/50 podcast. I just want to start this off by saying rest in peace, Ted Thompson. Us as a fan base, we always came after you for not making any big free agency moves, but I think we never really understood how good of an eye for talent you were, and your contribution to the team and the organization is greatly appreciated, and you will never be forgotten. So rest in peace, TT. Thank you very much. Second off, John Kuhn liked my tweet. No need to flex or anything, but John Kuhn liked my tweet. Pull it up on the screen. Yep, it's right there. For you podcast people, you're just going to have to believe me. But yeah, John Kuhn liked my tweet. So if you want to be like John Kuhn, go to the description and follow me on Twitter and like my tweets, and then you'll be just like him. I just don't want to talk about... Okay. I'm hesitating, as you can clearly see, because it is Monday, the day after the NFC Championship game, and we all know I don't have to tell you that what happened. And honestly, I don't even want to talk about it. Everyone is talking about it, so if everyone's talking about it, why do I have to talk about it? You know, I scrolled through hundreds of tweets, hundreds of Reddit comments. I saw every angle of every play of every single screenshot ever, and I'm not going to talk about it. Through all the tweets that I saw, though, the one I liked the most, I think, and the one that I think really describes my feelings the best was one by our good friend of the show and two-time guest on the show, Austin Louis. He said on Twitter, I'll pull it up for the video, otherwise to podcast people. He said on Twitter, Packers screwed up by not going for that fourth, Rodgers not running the ball in, not taking advantages of those interceptions, etc. Packers shot themselves in the foot, and that's why they lost this game. And he's right. That's the bottom line. That's what happens. I don't really care about this game now. It's kind of over. It's done. Obviously, we're not going to Super Bowl, so what's the point? I'm more interested in the ramifications of the game, what's going to happen next, because that's the future and that's what's more important. All the rumors flying around about who's leaving the team and who's not getting re-signed, and that's way more interesting to me, and we'll cover that in a later date because there's not a lot of info right now and it's all just speculation and rumors. But yeah, that's what I'm going to focus on going forward in the Packers organization. I'm not going to talk about the past. You know, we're talking about the future now. So that's what it's about, people. Get off Twitter. Last thing I really want to bring up in this section of the video, the media is going to be awful the next 2 weeks. Just stay off SportsCenter, stay off Twitter, stay off everything. It's going to be terrible. It's going to be, I already hate NFL media, and now it's just going to be worse. And if you want an unbiased, statistical look at the Super Bowl matchup, stay tuned for next week's episode when I'll talk about it. And I promise you, I will not use the word GOAT at any point because I'm sick of that shit. We're here at the 50/50 podcast. We're all about statistics, schemes, and raw numbers. And that's what it takes to be a good source of media, sports media, not two guys yelling at each other. Okay? So keep this front section short. I'm going to throw it over to the next section of the video. I do kind of mess up. It is Monday, and I filmed this next section on Saturday. So I'm going to throw it over to past me, but in the other video, I also say thanks past me. Ignore me being a dumbass. Okay, that I didn't. I'm an idiot. Okay, so I'm going to hate watching this back. Take it away, past me. Thanks, past me. We're here with Eric, veterans of the show, longtime supporters will know him from the many college basketball videos and other random episodes we've had him in. This is actually a 50/50 first. Today we're filming in front of the live audience. I'll have a video up on the screen that has the live audience members, but so that's fun. It's very intimidating, and I don't like it. That's why we do this not in front of an audience. But anyway, today we're going to be talking about the Wisconsin Badgers. We are filming this in the past because we just watched the Ohio State game and we lost because Dimitri Trice decided to revert back to sophomore year Dimitri Trice and turn the ball over in crunch time. And yeah, it was good. But we're not talking about that game specifically. We're talking about kind of just like the general vibe of the team right now, because it's not tournament time just yet. So we're just going to go over some of the key points, maybe some big question marks that the team's having at this point in the season. And you have anything to say?
Yeah, I agree that it is it is sort of vibe check time for the Badgers. It's usually around this time of year where you start to see what kind of team your college basketball team is going to be come March, and it's not looking great for the Badgers right now based on the last few games' performances.
Very true, very true. I did have a second mic, but unfortunately that didn't work. So if this looks really awkward, it is really awkward, yeah. So first big question I have written here. What's up with Nate Reavers? What's going on with him? I just realized today that he is not in the starting lineup. He's been replaced by T. Wall. And so what's your opinion on that?
He's someone who going into the season was a borderline third team or honorable mention All-American, and he has gone as far as to fall outside of the starting lineup. Now, as someone who keeps up with sports media in the Madison area, there has been no news on why this is happening. Has something personal happened in his life that's making his performance fall this much? Because he has looked absolutely lost for the last few games. He's literally out there running around, it looks like, for most of the game. He looks like he's not engaged in what's happening. He's missing easy shots, not playing great defense. So I think there's more to this story that maybe we'll find out later. But as it is right now, Reavers is not contributing a lot.
Very interesting. I didn't think about that. I always thought it was kind of just like a down year for him. I had some stats. Like from last year, he is minus 4 points per game. And he's also down a block per game from last year. But I think the biggest stat I found was that he's actually down from a +6 box plus minus to only a +2 box plus minus. So he's either not contributing those 4 extra points in the offensive end, or letting those 4 defensive points go on the defensive end, or combination of both. And it's definitely a telling tale. I think that stats really shows his contribution out there this year.
Yeah, it is interesting. You could look at the usage of Potter, and if that's affected anything, since he missed 10 or so games last year. But even factoring that in, he looks objectively worse than last year.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing I had down written too. It's Potter's usage percentage has gone up, and that's kind of contributed to it. And I also wrote that Tyler Wall is emerging as a starting caliber player, and that's definitely affected it because he's bringing that defensive prowess that Reavers had in the last couple of years. And also, teams are throwing better defensive schemes at him because he's not really a more than a two-dimensional scorer. He can't be crazy in the scoring category. So teams are just kind of doing the base to stop him, and then they're successful in it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And what you said about Tyler Wall is true. I think he's making the steps that we all wanted and expected him to take this year. And he's definitely more of a threat on offense, and he's becoming more comfortable playing in a college-paced game, which has been good, although he is not as consistent as maybe you'd like him to be at this point. But he is big improvements from Wall.
True. All right, second question. This has kind of been a meme in our group chat lately. I think it was during the Indiana game. At the halftime of the Indiana game, the commentator mentioned that Dimitri Trice is one of the best point guards in the nation. And we all heard it, and we kind of joked about it in the chat, but is there any truth to that?
That's an interesting question. He's been I think this is literally because of red shirts and injuries and things. He's a 6th-year player.
True.
So by far the most experienced probably of any point guard in the country. I think from seasons in past that I've watched him, he gets a lot better towards the end of the season. It seems like he always starts out like he can't pass out of a double team. He can't find open people or hit shots at big moments. But I don't know. Maybe there's I'd say top 5 point guard probably in the country, especially in terms of a pure scoring point guard. He's not a crazy passer, but he can go get buckets. Even when I get mad at him for taking dumb shots, they go in a lot of the time.
Oh, yeah. He always seems to step up in big moments too, which it takes into account your top 5-ness.
Yeah.
A couple notes I have is that his confidence has definitely gone up. I think since last year, he's now successfully taken over a fourth quarter, so he can see himself doing that in the future, and his confidence has gone up. And his overall shot creation, I feel, has gone up way more than since last year. He's pulling back. He's pulling step back middies. He's doing contested layups. He's pull-up jumpers from the three-point line. He's definitely had a lot more shot creation too.
Yeah, I'd say so. Definitely. In the past, I think when he's gone off the dribble, you just sort of you do kind of a face palm and go, what is he even trying to do? But yeah, he's been able to convert on mid-range shots, really good slashing, getting open layups for himself at the end of games. So yeah.
All right, and our last question: how far will we make it? And I mean in both tournaments. So my predictions for Big Ten tournament, I think we're gonna get second. I think we'll probably lose in the championship game since we are a team that does really start to get good around the Big Ten championship. That's evidence of last year and the year before, actually. But I think we'll get second. I think we'll probably lose to Michigan, maybe. And then I think we're gonna make it to probably the Sweet 16 in the tournament. I think we're gonna get really unlucky and have to go up against like Gonzaga or Baylor in the Sweet 16, and we're gonna get bounced right there. But I don't think it'd be an exciting postseason. Let's say that.
Yeah, I think it's it's around this time every year where it seems like the Badgers are having a little lull in their season. And the last 2 or 3 years, I've been ready to get on the Fire Guard bandwagon. Yep. And it seems like every time that happens, they go on a huge run to end the season, play really well in the Big Ten tournament. So I'm hoping that happens this year. I think they have the potential to get as hot as anyone in the country, especially beating up on and getting beat up on by Big Ten teams all the time. So it depends if they get hot at the right time. They could have a great postseason. So
what do you think, place-wise?
I think probably top 4 Big Ten finished. I'll just I won't go any farther to any more specific than that. And I'd say at least Sweet 16, depending on matchups. I think they, especially defensively, a lot of teams aren't used to playing against the caliber defense that we are. So depending on matchups, I'd say Sweet 16 or farther.
Very interesting. Well, that's it for us today. Thanks for joining us. Leave a comment down below if you think Dimitri Trice is the top point guard in the nation. So we'll see you next time on the 50-50 podcast.